you guys, and welcome to Yoga with Katie Callan. I have another 15-minute stretch for you guys. This time we're going to do post squat. Just did squats the other day, so we're going to stretch out our leg region. So we're going to start just by flexing our foot in front of us, just one of our feet, doesn't really matter. Hands on the hips, and then just bring those hips back. I tell people to wave your foot to the front, back and forth along the heel, getting into the calf region there as you really flex your foot up, toes up towards the ceiling, into our hamstring. Definitely bend that knee if you need to. Just wiggle it around. Doop, doop, doop. And then we'll plant that foot down and alternate. Bring that left foot forward, hips kind of leaning back a little bit. I'm keeping that back leg nice and straight. Both legs are straight. As I just stretch this foot, getting into the calf area. Oh my goodness. You just post your squat or just a couple days after. That's when it hurts the most. As long as you're just getting that lactic acid moving out of the way. Good. I'm going to step one of your legs back. For me, I'm stepping my right leg back. Coming into that high lunge, keeping my front knee over the ankle. Really pushing that back heel back so that I'm really feeling the stretch in the hip flexors right here. And then I'm going to lower slowly and controlled and lower that knee down into my low lunge. So in this low lunge here, make sure your tailbone, your buttocks is dropping down. So I'm tilting forward here, drawing the lower belly in. Just getting this hip more, and I'm going to shove that thigh back into the hip. So this hip is coming forward. All these muscles that are contracted all day are going to separate. I wish it was that much, but I'm going to pick up the back heel and flex that foot. That's my balance. I'm kind of lean into this front leg here for balance there. Get this crazy quad stretch. Flex that back foot to really tense those muscles a little bit more. Yes. Yes. And we're gonna hold this for a minute. It feels a lot on your knee. I mean, I'm doing it on carpet. You should do this on a mat. Otherwise, you can just do this standing. I know after, especially doing squats, the last thing you want to do is stand and put more weight on that front leg, like balancing. But you can do that. Or you can just lay down and pull your leg towards your butt. Just doing a low lunge because it also really gets into the hip area. Just breathing through it. Make sound effects, it makes it more fun. Kind of relaxes the muscles a little bit. So just holding this for a full minute. So we have 15 more seconds. Think about relaxing. Maybe keep pushing that hip forward. If you feel like it has kind of relaxed a little bit. If you want a greater stretch. And relax it down. Good. Now I'm going to straighten my front leg, put that heel down, and do a nice little hamstring stretch. So kind of like we did when we were standing. Bending my hips back over my heels. You can even relax your head down. So for a lot of us, like your hands can't touch the ground. So you can bring your hands onto your hips. Definitely pull this left hip back, real far back. So you want your hips to kind of almost be in line, but it's really hard for a lot of us because we all have really tight hamstrings. You're feeling a pinch in the back of the knee here. You can bend the knee as much as you need. Just think about arching the spine almost. So when you do that, you feel that pull at the top of the hamstring area. That's what you really want. You don't want it to just be in the middle to knee range. So just breathing into that area to create some space. Deep breath in and exhale. To relax, sending those signals to the muscles to chill out. So we're just holding it for 1 minute. Have 10 more seconds. Got a little timer on my watch. Not holding you guys too long. And now we'll relax. Good. So now we're going to open this leg out to the side and put it down So coming into gate pose. So bring that foot down, we're setting it nice and tall. And I'm going to reach my right arm overhead and come into like a side stretch here. Bring your hand onto your hips for a little stability. Good. And definitely lift that foot up and flex it up towards the ceiling if you need. That feels good for you, getting into that area a little bit more. Just gonna play with it. Maybe lean over a little bit more this way. And definitely if this is a lot for your shoulder, you can put your hand onto your shoulder and then side stretch this way. As long as you're stretching the side body, I don't want any shoulder impingement, and you don't want your shoulder bunched up next to your ear or your hand like that, and you're barely stretching there. So find whatever feels good to you. If it hurts, modify. We're all at different levels, we all live different lives. Just because you can't do something doesn't mean you're any less. It just means that you just work out differently. Maybe you have like just so much shoulder mass there. Good. Gonna inhale, come back up, and then we're gonna step our legs together, and let's just stand up here. Cool, now I'm gonna step my left leg back this time and come into that high lunge, really pushing the heel away from me, real far away. Feeling that crazy stretch here. A nice little bend in my front knee over ankle there. And I'm going to slowly and control as the heel's pushing back as I lower. I'm getting more of a stretch, and then I'm lowering my knee down here. Good, coming into that low lunge, find that tilt in the pelvis again. Whoop. Like lower belly's coming in, tailbone's going down. You can do it with your fingers, like to make your bones do that. Good. We're gonna bring the heel towards the buttocks, the back heel. Remember, lean into that front leg for stability. It's gonna be a little bit wobbly. And flex that foot and get into that quad. Into that hip flexor. Ooh, maybe notice that one side is tighter than another. This one actually feels pretty tight today for me. Usually my right side is a little tighter. But it just happens to be what your tendencies are, what your habits. Especially if you like lean on one side more, right hand dominant, especially with the mouse on the computer and stuff. Sometimes you lean that way. Whew. Breathing into that space where you're feeling the tension. Expand that area, your breath. And exhale to relax it. Good. 10 more seconds. And relax that leg down. Good. We're going to ground our front heel in and send our hips back over our back heel, and for our little hamstring stretch. So again, hands on the ground, or hands on the hips. And you're just bringing that right hip back. Right hip back, and keep those shoulders in line. Reach the chest forward. You want to keep the chest lifted. You don't want to be just rounding over the leg here. I mean, that's not really good for your back. So we want to definitely keep the chest lifted, but you can bring the chin towards the chest, but you can see the chest is still pointing forward towards those toes. This comes in a lot of poses, so just keep that in mind for when you do a lot of these poses. You want to have a flat back. And then I'm almost arching my spine. I'm trying to bring my butt up, but my hamstrings are so tight that it's just pulling right there in that top hamstring glute region. So this is especially a good stretch if you're definitely tight in that area, but also have lower back pain, because then that area will pull on your lower back muscles and cause a lot of tension there. Good, we can relax now, relax that foot down. And we're gonna open up to the side, move this foot to the side, and come into that gate pose. So come into that gate pose. Your foot down, hands on hips. Then inhale our left arm up, and exhale, side stretch. Just stretching the side of the body, think more about lengthening diagonally, kind of like in that area of my camera. And less about crunching over. I don't want to go down towards that corner, I want to go up towards this corner. So stretching this inside of the foot. If it feels good to you, you can lift that foot up. Try to get in all areas of our leg. And squats. Ruin your legs. Oh, I got a little hip crack out of that. Who knows what you'll get? Big cracks or little pops. Maybe some moans and groans. Again, try to relax the shoulders down. Or you can even put your hand on your shoulder, even if your arm gets tired. So let's inhale, come back up. Exhale, step your knees together. And we're gonna do our frog pose. So I did this in another video. Bring your knees apart. Keep your hips in line with your knees. So your knees and hips are in line. As you can stay up here, and as your knees kind of glide away from each other. So just opening the inner groin area, and then this one really gets in the top of the groin. So like all those really tight muscles. You can stay up there or come down onto your forearm. So just shift your weight if you need to, straight forward or back. Just playing with it. Just breathing, relaxing down. You can flex your feet out to the side as well. Use a mirror like your phone, see where you're at, and then just go there. Okay, so not too bad. Just breathe through it. Okay, just 10 more seconds. Keeping your chest nice and lifted, maybe gaze forward. And we're gonna release now. So bring your hands to the ground and come back up. You will pop us up as swiftly. Right, no big deal. We're gonna do our pigeon pose. So you can come into kind of like a down dog plank. And then I'm gonna bring the right knee to the outside of the right wrist. And then I'm gonna bring the ankle to my other foot. And I'm gonna scooch my back leg, scooch that back, but I want my hips to be right in front of this foot area, okay? And then we're gonna just lower down. Maybe you're here, you can walk the hands out if going on the forearms really hurts. I know that hurts a lot of people just come down like this, but this, you can feel the stretch, but if you wanna go down further, you just walk them out slowly. I know a lot of you guys have a lot of arm strength, so you can do this. You can gently hold your upper body up with your hands, that's fine. Keep your fingers wide, pressing down evenly through both hands, especially through the flesh area between the wrist and thumb. Helps create strength there so you don't get carpal tunnel when you're older. So you can stay there and come down to your forearms. Stretching this outer thigh area. The area that works probably the most here and then into our glute. Whew. If you're feeling any knee pain, you can definitely come out of this and do the modified version, which is a figure 4 stretch. You just lay on your back and I have in a couple other videos. Just hug this knee in towards the chest. You can do that if this hurts after a while, but we are holding this for a whole minute. So. A little more. So we're going to inhale, come up. And then we're going to tuck our back toes to lift the hips to create some space to release that bent leg and send it back. And we're going to switch legs, taking the left leg forward. The knee is right outside the wrist, right outside the hip area. So you don't want it to be right in front of you on the inside of the body. You want it to be out to the side. And then we're sending this hip back, our right hip. And then coming down onto your hands. Walk your hands forward as much as you need. Try to relax those shoulders a bit. You can even put your arms on some blocks or a chair. It's something that's high up if you want to come onto your forearms. A box that you might have laying around. You can get creative. That's what's cool about doing these videos, is you're most likely at home or at a gym where there's a lot of things that are accessible that you can have fun with. Sometimes helps to even look towards that leg that's bent. And kind of just brings awareness to that area, and then your body is more open to that area. Feels a little more stretch in there. Cool. Now we're going to get out of this pose by tucking the back toes, lifting the hips, creating some space. You can walk out your down dog here. Whew, feel the difference in the legs already. Hop to seated. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Thank you for joining me. Share the video or like and comment below any thoughts. Thank you and have a great day. Namaste.